AFL umpires have a tough job. In a game as fast-paced as Aussie rules, it can be hard to catch everything that is happening around you. The umpires have been known to make some shocking calls, and some of these calls have affected the outcome of a game, and have left a bad taste in the mouths of players and fans. In round 2 of the 2021 season, Geelong and Brisbane faced each other at GMHBA Stadium. Despite it being a fortress for the Cats, they found themselves in a tight contest with the Lions, and with the seconds counting down, the Cats were in the lead by only 2 points. The Lions were pushing, and with 40 seconds remaining, Joe Daniher takes an unbelievable pack mark at half forward. With time counting down, Daniher long bombs the ball deep into the forward line, and a scrap ensues between the Lions attackers and Cats defenders. Isaac Smith obtained possession of the footy and passes it to Mark Blicavs, who blatantly tries to take on Zach Bailey, who lays a textbook tackle, causing Blicavs to incorrectly dispose of the ball. However, the umpire, to everyone's shock, does not call a free for the Lions, and the ball gets rushed behind with 23 seconds remaining, and eventually, the Cats win the game by 1 point. The head of umpiring, Dan Richardson, was quick to admit that the umpire made the wrong call, saying, "The umpire at the time called play on, and upon review, we acknowledge that it was a missed free kick on this occasion." By attempting to evade the player with the ball, Blicavs had prior opportunity, and as a result, the call should have been holding the ball. As Chris Fagan has alluded to, it doesn't determine the outcome of the game. One decision. There's many moments that impact the outcome of any game. Despite this last call, the Lions would have had a shot in front of goal and would most likely have won the game at a notoriously tough venue for away teams. Similarly, in round 15 of the 2023 season, the top of the table Magpies found themselves against the Adelaide Crows at the MCG. With 2 minutes remaining, the Pies were up by only 2 points and defending their lead to the end. With 15 seconds remaining in play, the Crows ruckman Riley O'Brien kicks the ball into the Crows forward line. Crows captain Jordan Dawson came barraging to the footy and was met with a clip to the head by Jamie Elliott. As the siren sounded, the Magpies would be the eventual victors, but a frustrated Dawson with blood dripping from his mouth went straight to the umpire asking how he could have gotten cut without being hit in the head during play. Dan Richardson was back again to answer for the missed call. In his statement, he stated that the umpires had a restricted view of the play and missed the contact to Dawson's head. However, whether or not the umpire made the call could make the difference between the Crows making the finals or not in such a closely contested middle group of teams in the 2023 season. One of the biggest decisions could have been the difference in St Kilda winning a grand final. This occurred in the 2009 AFL Grand Final between Geelong and St Kilda. Near the end of the second quarter, St Kilda's Zach Dawson had the ball at full back, and a brain fade or mistaken disposal caused Tom Hawkins from the Cats to intercept the ball and kick for goal. Hawkins, the fans, and even the goal umpire had believed that Hawkins had made the goal. However, on replay of the goal, it was evident that the ball deviated in direction due to hitting the goalpost. The umpire may not have detected the change in direction at regular speed, but ultimately the 6 points would have been a significant topic of debate had Max Rook not kicked a goal at the end of the game to increase the lead to 12 points. This moment played a significant role in what would become the score review system, which was introduced to the competition in 2012. Another controversy involving St Kilda was the AFL siren controversy, commonly known as Siren Gate. Occurred during round 5 of the 2006 season. The match took place between St Kilda and Fremantle at Aurora Stadium in Launceston. Leading up to the final siren, Fremantle held a 1-point lead, but due to the umpire's failure to hear the siren, play continued for approximately 10 seconds. As the time ticked over, the Fremantle players were protesting with the umpire that the siren had sounded. However, the umpire carried on with play and a ball up occurred in St Kilda's forward line. The Saints won the ball and Stephen Baker had a shot for goal, resulting in a point and a tied game. What ensued after was complete pandemonium as Fremantle players celebrated thinking they had won the game and umpires were deliberating whether or not to award the point to St Kilda. Ultimately, the umpires decided to take back the point, but award a free kick to Stephen Baker for another shot at goal for a late hit from Fremantle's Daniel Gilmore. This gave Baker the choice of having another shot with the scores back to a 1-point difference. Meanwhile, Fremantle's coach Chris Connolly was understandably irate at the decision, storming the field to contest the decision of the umpire as Stephen Baker was having a shot, with the media personnel, trainers and runners all on the field thinking the game was over. Players were all questioning the umpires, and the whole situation was complete confusion. Baker scored another behind, and the game was concluded that day as a draw. According to the official AFL rules at the time, there were specific clauses regarding the sounding of the siren and the role of the field umpires in acknowledging it. Clause 10.4.1 stated that timekeepers should sound the siren to signal the end of a quarter, and until a field umpire acknowledges the siren has been heard and brings play to an end. Clause 10.4.2 stated that play in each quarter should come to an end when any one of the field umpires hears the signal. In the Siren Gate controversy, it was revealed that the timekeeper had indeed sounded the first siren. However, the timekeeper had mistakenly believed that the field umpire had acknowledged it due to seeing the Fremantle players celebrating their win, and the umpire calling for the ball. Consequently, the timekeeper began doing paperwork and paid no attention to the ongoing match. It was only when a spectator drew his attention by striking his window with an empty beer can that he had become aware that play was still continuing. He then sounded the siren for the second time just after Baker's first kick for goal. In this case, the timekeepers did not follow Rule 10.4.1, as the siren should have continued to sound until formally acknowledged by the field umpire. The acknowledgement requires any one of the three field umpires to raise both arms in the air and blow the whistle. There is some uncertainty as to whether any of the umpires actually heard the siren. However, regardless of whether they had heard it or not, none of them chose to bring the play to an end as required by Rule 10.4.2. The rules make it clear that the umpires are the sole judges of when a quarter ends, but in practice, this judgment call is typically made in split seconds, determining whether a mark or kick occurred before or after the siren, rather than with the time difference of 25 seconds as in this case. After careful deliberation, the AFL Commission decided that the game should have ended when the initial siren sounded. As a consequence, St Kilda's last behind was nullified, granting Fremantle the victory and 4 premiership points. This marked only the second instance in VFL-AFL history where a game's score and outcome were altered due to a protest. The outcome of the controversial Siren Gate match had significant implications for the ladder standings at the end of the home and away season. Fremantle finished the season in 3rd place with a record of 15-7, while St Kilda finished 6th with a record of 14-8. Sydney and Collingwood also finished with a 14-8 record, occupying 4th and 5th places respectively. However, if the drawn result had stood and all other results remained unchanged, Fremantle and St Kilda would have been tied on a 14-7-1 record. St Kilda's superior percentage would have elevated them to 3rd place, with Fremantle in 4th, Sydney in 5th, and Collingwood in 6th. This would have had implications for the first week of finals, giving St Kilda a double chance and replacing Sydney in that position. Notably, Sydney eventually reached the grand final. During the early stages of the season, there was speculation that Fremantle coach Chris Connolly's job could be at risk if the talented Fremantle lineup failed to make the finals. Before the result was officially overturned, it was believed that the 2 points potentially lost due to the siren mistake could be a deciding factor in Fremantle's finals chances. Ironically, however, it was St Kilda coach Grant Thomas who was dismissed at the end of the season, despite the club's strong finish and elimination in the first week of the finals. If St Kilda had finished in 3rd place and secured a double chance, their early elimination would not have occurred.